Yo, what's up, guys? I'm going live on Instagram at the same time. I'm here to clear up a few things about supplements. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. So I've got my setup behind me where my phone is over my computer. There we go. All right. Go. All right. So I'm live. Oh, I got to turn my camera around. There it is. Okay, so I'm live on Instagram and I'm live on Facebook at the same time. I'm here to talk a little bit about supplements to kind of clear some things up, because right now immune support and preventative care I think are more important than anything, because we're all at home, we're all worried about getting COVID and or staying healthy long term, and we're starting to think more deeply on those preventative measures. But I don't think everybody maybe understands how to make those decisions, right? Or what goes into them. So some of the things I want to talk about are supplements. Do you need supplements? At what age do you need them? How much should you take? How do you choose a brand? And then lastly, I'll talk about what you can take. And I'll go over a little bit of what I take, because I take everything under the sun. But there's a reason for that. It's a good reason. Okay, so the first question, do I need supplements? Now, there's a lot of stuff out there that'll say you don't need vitamins, you get everything you need from food, or when you take vitamins, it's just an expensive urine that you're going to pee it all out. And I want to clear that up a little bit here, because they're called supplements for a reason, because they are a supplement to your diet. So what that means is that vitamins are not food. They're not intended to take the place of food. And if you're using them in that way, then you're not getting the maximum benefit of them. So it's like if you had supplemental insurance. You have your regular insurance, and then you have extra insurance that is your supplement. And it might cover extra costs that your regular insurance doesn't cover. And that's the same with your diet, right? No matter how healthy you eat, we're not perfect. And most of us don't get all of our food grown in our backyard, or we don't kill, if we're meat eaters, we're not slaughtering the animal in our yard either. It goes through a process for it to get to us, right? So in that process, some of the nutrients can be lost. That's one of them. So supplements can help to fill in the gaps of what is lost. And sometimes we all don't eat that great anyway, because we like stuff like ice cream, for instance, one of my favorite cheap foods. And that isn't really nutrient dense. So we can use supplements as a way to help to optimize the balance that we have in our nutrition. Now, the other part of it is that I think it sometimes goes misunderstood, is that vitamins exist in food. So we don't eat food exclusively for the calories and the energy. We also eat it for the vitamins and minerals and things in it that our body needs to function. So taking vitamins can sometimes replace deficiencies or help with deficiencies that exist in our diet. So if you have any questions about that, hit me up. But I've been taking vitamins since I was a little kid, so it's been ingrained in me. It started with the Flintstones, and I've never stopped. And I've enjoyed good health majority of my life. So I think that to me, that speaks for itself on why you would want to do it. Now, the next question is, at what age do you need supplements? And that the answer to that is, at any age you can benefit from them, but you can take different ones, because as you age, certain things will happen to the body, and your needs might change slightly. Now, there's basic human nutritional needs, but as you get older, you might, for instance, you might be a little bit more inflamed or something, or you might have specific health concerns like digestion or heart health. So you may do extra things to reflect what specifically you're worried about, maybe from a genetic standpoint or from an environmental standpoint. If you live in an environment like I live in LA, and right now the air quality is so much better than it normally is, but when it's smoggy, my body is being exposed to toxins on a daily basis that somebody that lives in Montana isn't dealing with. So I might up my supplementation to help my liver and help my body to detox and stay healthier on top of the food and water that I'm drinking regularly. But when you're, and as a child might need certain nutrients, more of certain nutrients to help them develop as they grow and build strong bones and a healthy immune system and all of those things, which is really important. And then, so the third question that I wrote down to talk about is how much should I take? So to understand that question, there's the recommended daily allowance, and that can be different from country to country. So I just got off a call with some coaches from around the world, and in Europe, there are different standards for what is allowed in a vitamin product versus in the US, because those things are decided by the government. So the recommended daily allowance is not necessarily a universal thing. The second part of that is, if you do a little bit of research, you can find out that the guidelines have, when they started out, in some cases were just enough to prevent illness, but not necessarily to promote optimum health. And vitamin C is a great example of this. For a long time, the recommended dose was enough to prevent scurvy, but not really to do much more than that. And vitamin D is another one that the recommended dosages have gone higher and higher over the years as we've understood the benefits. So when I take a product, I look to individualize that to myself, and I look for I want to start with the recommended daily allowance, and then as I get better at being able to understand and interpret my body, I can decide if at sometimes with certain vitamins I might take more. And vitamin C is one of those, because some vitamins are water soluble and some are fat soluble. So a water soluble vitamin just means that it won't be stored in the body. So you may need to take more of this, or you may need to take it more often. B vitamins are one that a lot of people notice when they're taking them, because they turn your pee yellow. So they're an example of a water soluble, and so is vitamin C. But you can take a lot of those, and it won't harm you as much. Where there are fat soluble vitamins where they will stay in your body, and some of those are like vitamin A. And then so if you're with me so far, and you're thinking, okay, I understand how supplements can help and why I can take them, and I have some health concerns that I want to address with them. But you might have the question, I'm getting a lot of text messages, sorry for the buzzing. How do you choose a brand? So again, this is going to be dependent on the country you're in, but let me just talk about the US for a little bit, because I think this is the most important point to remember. In the US, regulations on supplements are so minimal. They are FDA standards for food, which means that it just has to be clean. So at no point, and you can actually go on the FDA website, and you can read the guidelines that supplement companies have to go through. And it's not many, because they're not required to prove that what's in the product what's on the label is actually in the product. And as a result, I think that has contributed to some of the doubt that people have as to whether or not supplements are effective, because you have some products out there that don't have much in them. Or you can even get like steroids and stuff in some. Like, so if you guys are sports fans, for instance, there's been a number of cases recently and over the past few years, and where athletes suddenly test positive for a performance enhancing substance, and then they say things like, I had no idea. Well, they may actually have not had an idea. Like, they might be telling the truth, because a lot of these products don't have to prove that what they say is in the product is in there. And sometimes there are unwanted substances in there that can produce side effects. So you do have to do your due diligence. The second thing about it is, just because the vitamin is on the shelf at a store also doesn't mean that that company has even verified what the product is either. So you can get a lot of shit. Let me just put it that way. And so you really got to be careful. There is a book, and I should have I should have put this in front of me because otherwise, but I'll talk about this another time. But there are certain standards that companies can go by, and you want to look for good manufacturing practices. And pharmaceutical grade is another one, because there's higher standards for pharmaceuticals than there are for just basic supplements. And then also, there's a brand that I trust, and I'm happy to talk about it. USANA is the brand that I trust. USANA is pharmaceutical grade. They follow good manufacturing practices. They go above and beyond to make sure that they are providing quality, potent, guaranteed supplements, and what's on the label is in it. And as far as athletes go, they even give a $1 million guarantee that if they ever test positive, they will pay them $1 million. They have never had to pay that because they guarantee what is in the product. And it's phenomenal. So if you want to have a conversation about products or you want to try something, I'm happy to set you up. We can decide what works for you. So let's talk about categories. The last but not least, what are the basics? So there's general health. And if you're not into taking a lot of pills, that's okay, because you have optimizers, and those are for your specific health concerns. But for general health, the number one that my go-to is a really good multivitamin. This is going to be your foundation. This is going to cover all the angles. And then if you have other health concerns, like let's say you have a digestive challenge, or you have a heart issue, or you're worried about it because it's in your family, you can take, there are products that are geared towards digestive health, like a probiotic, for example. You can even take digestive enzymes. Taking a liver support helps with detox, but the liver also helps with digestion, so you can do that as well. Fiber is one that in the US in particular is so overlooked. Fiber helps in numerous ways. It acts as a prebiotic, which means that it's food for your healthy gut flora. Okay, this is really important. It helps in regulating digestion. So in the US, we eat a lot of processed carbs. So it's just not healthy for us. But if we up our fiber intake, it can slow down that blood sugar spike. So it can keep our blood sugar more stable, and it can help us to have a smoother process all the way through and to the end as we let everything out. So it's something that I would highly recommend that you add if you're not already taking it. There's things like vitamin D, which boosts the immune system, but is also good for the cardiovascular system. There's vitamin C, which is just, I think, like an amazing supplement for so many different things. And then there's coenzyme Q10, which is specifically good for the heart, cardiovascular system. And there's products like fish oil, which can help balance your omega fatty acids and lessen inflammation in the body. So you really can go on and on. So hopefully this was helpful, and please ask questions, leave a comment, send me a message, whatever you want to do. Or if you have a question you want me to talk about on a future one, I do my best to answer questions on live, specifically based on ones that I get from people, instead of just telling you generic things. So thanks a lot.